but hopefully it won't cause us too many problems here. We've got a really, really powerful webinar for you today, all about eBay. There's going to be plenty of time for live Q&A at the end. But in the meantime, you'll see on the right-hand side of your screen a little box where you can submit your questions. Don't hesitate to do so at any point throughout the webinar. We want to make sure that we get all of your questions answered. There should be a lot of good dialogue and back and forth at the end here. So I know we've got quite a few people on joining us today. And so don't hesitate to send over those questions. Also, if you experience any technical issue or you can't see the screen for some reason or you can't hear us, please use that box as well to submit those issues and concerns so that we can get them addressed. We want to make sure that everybody can hear everything and that we've got it all crystal clear for you. So that should take care of the housekeeping. Without further ado, we're going to jump right in. So welcome again to our Winning Strategies for eBay Power Selling webinar. This webinar is going to cover a couple of kind of fundamental strategies that we see across all of our biggest eBay sellers, as well as some trends and newer opportunities for sellers that we don't want you to miss out on if you aren't already taking advantage. But first, a little introduction. Once again, my name is Mike Eugenio. I am a co-founder here at Sellbrite and our Chief Marketing Officer. I have hopefully spoken with a lot of you already if you are Sellbrite customers. If not, there's a good chance that I will get to speak with you at some point because I like to jump on our chats and talk to our sellers and find out what they're doing, what kinds of cool things they're up to. We have so many really interesting business models that come to us to use our software. So hopefully, if we haven't spoken before, we'll get the chance to. Personally, I was a former merchant myself, working for a pretty large retailer. We were a top 30 Amazon and eBay seller. I have experience as a buyer, experience designing promotions, merchandising, pricing, and then later on in my career, selling across marketplaces. So if you name it in the retail business, chances are I've done it. I've also worked on the manufacturer and the brand side as well. On a personal note, I am an outdoors guy, and I love being outside, and that counts even if it's cold. So the only two pictures I could find here of recent things that I've done both happened over the winter. One of them up in Canada, where I was snowboarding in negative 30-degree temperatures, and the other one was actually in inside a glacier in Iceland. But odd Californian that really likes the cold. I don't know what the heck I'm doing here. But what are all of us here for? Actually, before we jump into that, really quickly, in case you're not using Sellbrite already, what is Sellbrite? We have built the easiest way for brands and retailers to list and sell their products on the world's largest online marketplaces. And we continue to focus on doing that. If you are already a Sellbrite customer, we've got some really big improvements coming out really shortly on the listing side of things. And if you're not already using Sellbrite, in addition to helping you list products, we make sure that you don't oversell, make sure that you're not underselling. Hold on, it looks like we've got a technical issue here. And someone's saying that they can't see anything. Let me just make sure that that's not the case. Can anybody else let me know if they're seeing what we've got going on here on the presentation?
Hey, Mike, I was able to see the screens before.
You were? Okay.
I can't see any more, though. Now I'm seeing a black screen.
Okay. Let me make sure that I've got that up again. Okay. And all right. Are we back? Everybody, can everyone see that? Definitely want to make sure that we don't miss out on content that we've got. So can anybody give me an affirm on whether you can see the screen here? Okay. All right, we're going to keep going. Okay, can anybody see? Can everyone see the screen? Can I get a quick confirmation that that what you can see is our what is Sellbrite slide? Okay. Okay, cool. And I think I just kicked Michael out, so hopefully he'll be joining us back here in a second. So anyway, so if you're not already using Sellbrite, we, in addition to help managing and creating your listings, help you with your overselling, make sure that you have all of your channels reflecting what you've actually got in stock, helping with fulfillment and some analytics to kind of manage everything that you need to manage on the channels. But without further ado on that, why are we all really here? We're all really here because we're going to talk about eBay. And in particular, we're going to talk about some of the things that eBay is doing to evolve. eBay has made a lot of changes in the last couple of years. And you could argue that they're more seller focused in terms of the innovation that they've brought out in their marketplace. While there's a lot of promotion happening and changing to the shopping experience across the marketplace landscape in general, I really see eBay adopting more new strategic tactics than other channels, or at least as much, if not more so than other channels, and particularly ones that help sellers. One of the biggest changes that's been in the works for several years is them prioritizing more structured data. So you're likely going to have encountered the eBay catalog in some capacity when you're listing products, and we're going to talk about that a little bit today. And another area that really is kind of our core focus for the day is how they've been encouraging faster shipping to get products to consumers faster, so that consumers have more options available to them to increase satisfaction, and for sellers, giving them a chance to really drive conversions. Before we jump into that bigger topic, though, I want to talk about a couple of basics that we'll review quickly. Some things that you're likely already familiar with, but that we see consistently across our best performing eBay sellers. So starting off, professional listing templates. A professionally designed template is really consistently seen across all of our biggest sellers. If you're serious about your growth on eBay, we highly recommend investing in one. And they don't need to be fancy, and they don't need to be loud. If you look at the example that we've got here, it's a very clean template, but it offers the ability to capture some of the essentials of a listing. First of all, very clear imagery. Second of all, reiteration of the specs of the particular product, which you can see on the right-hand side. Clear indication of the shipping options available. And then to help the seller expand and make more product available, you see clear navigation to other categories that the seller offers. So we highly recommend investing in a template. Again, it can be a simple one. And if you're looking for a quick DIY solution, Sellbrite does integrate with a tool called Crazy Lister, where you can custom build your own, again, in an affordable DIY fashion. If you want something a little bit more custom, we also work with a great company called Ninja Templates, which does affordable eBay template design. And they also do design for your e-commerce store as well, so that you can have consistency across those platforms. And we'd be happy to make an introduction after the webinar if you email us afterwards. That's not a problem. Okay, so that's professional templates. The next piece is leveraging the catalog, eBay's catalog, and your own item specifics, or the item specifics available on your category. This is probably the opportunity I see the most that sellers leave on the table. And it's super simple in theory, but it requires you to do the work to fill in your attributes. You can see here, these are actually the item specifics from the listing above. So that seller has a template where they feature some of these specs within the description, but then these item specifics here are the ones that are actually captured in eBay's catalog and category search. So these are absolutely going to improve your search visibility for your products. Pretty basic, pretty no-brainer. And a listing tool like Sellbrite will offer you unlimited custom attributes field that you can work with to add attributes that aren't by default part of the catalog. So we make it easy to fill in these specific ones if the category offers them. But even if you have your own attributes, you can add those as well. Next, fast shipping tags. So this is really a big component of what we're going to talk about today. And Michael will certainly talk about it a lot more. But this is one thing that we want everyone to leave here remembering, that this opportunity is out there, and it's really the biggest competitive advantage right now that exists on marketplaces. If you browse any category on eBay, you're going to see that the listings at the top of the category have fast shipping tags. So while we don't know what algorithm is driving listings to the top entirely, that is pretty easy to deduce that there is a strong correlation between the eBay's guaranteed delivery program and better visibility. And it's totally possible to get started today adding these tags on your listings. There are more structured and efficient ways of doing it. And again, Michael's going to talk more about that. But everybody could leave here today with a plan for getting tags up on their listings in the short term. And then lastly, in terms of general kind of tips and also trends with eBay, leveraging the catalog. So we talked a little bit already about adding your item specifics to eBay's catalog. If you are selling an item that is already in eBay's catalog with an ePID, an eBay product identifier, you actually don't even need to enrich the data on your listings because eBay's already going to have it. So eBay has been building their catalog in the structured data approach for the last couple of years, and it benefits sellers that are selling these bigger brand, more commoditized items because they can get their product listed faster without needing all of the data. But the flip side of that is that eBay is actually starting to enforce that you use the eBay product ID when creating the listing. So it's kind of similar to Amazon and the ASIN and listing to Amazon with ASINs. eBay has already started requiring that you include an ePID on any of the categories that you see here, and then rolling out in August, which is just a month away, is a much broader list of categories and brands where you're going to be required to use an ePID. So it's a good idea to start thinking about that now. It's a good idea to start getting your data together so that if eBay does decide to enforce ePID requirements, you could be the one that is providing that data for the catalog and get a benefit on your listings there. Again, these changes are going to be required across a broader set of categories very soon, within the next month. So putting all those tips together, templates are going to improve your credibility. They're going to increase conversions and the speed with which you can list products. So your general efficiency. And your product data should never be an ignored part of managing your multi-channel business. It doesn't need to happen immediately. And we'll show you in a minute how Sellbrite can actually make it really easy for you to get products listed, but then go back and enrich them. But it needs to be a part of your initial strategy when you're getting up and running with new listings to go back and revise them and edit the data and enrich them within a very short period, within the first few days of them being live, so that you can make sure that they maximize their visibility. Fast shipping tags are a massive differentiator. So we'll talk a little bit more about the benefit that fast shipping tags are offering and how they're what sellers are seeing as far as a difference in sales. But this is not going to go away anytime soon. Fast shipping is being aggressively promoted across multiple marketplaces right now. eBay got into this game relatively recently, but they've got a little bit of a leg up over some other channels out there as well. But this is a clear way to increase visibility to your listings. And then prepare for the catalog management approach that eBay is putting out, because it's going to require potential changes to your workflow. You may need to search eBay's catalog to see if an ePID exists before creating a listing, and Sellbrite would be able to help you with that as well. but it's definitely going to change the workflow of merchants that are selling branded, commoditized branded products. So really quickly, I want to just kind of show, and if you're a Sellbrite customer already, this is actually going to be somewhat new to you. I'm going to show what we've been working on to make the product a little bit easier, but a lot of this is going to seem familiar. So how easy is it really to manage your eBay listings and create listings on eBay from Sellbrite? It all starts with visiting your selling manager and selecting the products that you want to list. So we recommend filtering by your product categories and choosing a category worth of products and then starting the listing process. But then what we're going to do is we're going to take you through a couple of quick steps where you can save your basic settings. So we'll have two different templates. One is for shipping and another is for payment information. Now, after you save these things and update them, you're never going to have to touch this again, and you're never going to see these screens again until you want to go and make a change. And then making a change, you can just do it in one place and it's going to automatically update across all your listings. But this will be the first step that you'll see, really, if you're a new seller. If you're an existing Sellbrite seller and you opt into this new flow, you may go through this step again. After that, you're going to assign your Sellbrite product category to the corresponding one on eBay. So what we're going to do is create a template so that anytime you're listing a product within a certain category, we already know exactly where that data is going to go. So in Sellbrite, if you manage a category of women's hats, you can assign that Sellbrite category to the corresponding one on eBay. Anytime you list a women's hat from Sellbrite, we're going to have this template already applied to the listing, so you never need to add this again. And all of the custom attributes that you want for that category are already mapped to your product data. So this is, again, a one-time thing for each of the product categories that you sell, and then you never have to see this step again. And then the last step would be simply publishing. So after you've gone through that flow once and created those templates just once, they're already going to you're already going to be there in your account. They're going to exist already, and they're going to be tied to that listing, or to that category. So the listing process really breaks down to just choosing the products you want to list and clicking publish, and then it's all done for you. So that's a little preview into how this process is going to be made a lot simpler, particularly to get started, or particularly if you're selling through just a handful of key categories. So I'm happy to talk more about this if you're an existing seller and you want to know more about it. It's still in testing right now, so we haven't rolled this out, and we're going to make sure that we do it in a way where it doesn't upset your current flow and all of your current templates are protected. But we're really excited to see the results of how this is helping sellers list products faster. And on that note, I am going to turn the presentation over to our other presenter, Michael Krakaris from Deliverr, who has got some really cool data to share with you guys. And we are an integrated partner of Deliverr's. Deliverr syncs seamlessly into Sellbrite to pull orders and update tracking and to help our merchants ship products. But he's going to get into all that. We're really excited to have Michael here. So give it up for Michael, and I'm going to go on mute because I'm probably rambling.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, thanks for having me. Happy to talk on eBay, and then we can go into some really cool things on guaranteed delivery. But quick intro of myself. I'm one of the co-founders here at Deliverr. I run product and growth at Deliverr. Before this, I was at Symphony Commerce, and Symphony focused on actually fulfillment for branded manufacturers. So handling fulfillment for Pepsi, Gatorade, Hint Water, Fiji Water, some of these really big CPG brands that I was working on their direct consumer fulfillment, and it was something very new for them for the first time. So worked a lot on the product side there, and have now carried over a lot of my learnings into Deliverr. But just going into it, what is Deliverr? It's really kind of, at one line, it's FBA-like fulfillment for eBay, Walmart, and Shopify. And what does that mean? We'll do a quick overview of what Deliverr is, but it's really clear FBA-like pricing, access to fast shipping tags, eBay guaranteed delivery is a big one, and the last one is just hassle-free. You can connect your Sellbrite account to Deliverr, and we'll talk about that near the end. But going into eBay, what is eBay guaranteed delivery? And I think the best way to conceptualize it is that it's eBay's new Prime program. And so this is manifested on eBay in a few different ways on the website if you go. Number one is when you search for a category, you search for any product, you're going to see a big filter. It's going to be in the top right. It's going to say filtered by enable guaranteed 3-day delivery. That's the first place you're going to see it. Also on search on the left-hand column, you can filter by guaranteed in 4 days, 3 days, 2 days, or 1 day. Then when you go to the listing details side, there'll be this big green tag on it, and it will say guaranteed by, and it will put a date. Very similar to what you see on Amazon Prime. When you go on Amazon and you look for an item that is Prime enabled, right underneath the Prime badge, it'll say guaranteed by, and then that day will be 2 days or less. So a little bit faster than eBay guaranteed delivery, but still, for eBay, this was a huge addition to the program. Now, this is what it looks like on web. On mobile, it's much more prominent because there's a lot less real estate on mobile. So on mobile, you'll see a big bar at the top, and it'll say guarantee in 3 days or less. And then naturally, as Mike was talking about, listings are starting to float to the top that have the guaranteed delivery badge, regardless of if a buyer is choosing to filter by guaranteed delivery or not. So if we go to the next slide, why should I care about EGD? We're going to walk through these 3 points in depth. Number one is the early mover advantage. And I actually wrote a blog on this. This is something that I really think all sellers should understand, especially sellers who were early to the Amazon game when Prime started. Number two is the group similar listings advantage. And so Mike touched to the structured data component. And at first glance, you might not think it's as impactful, but when we look at, what's going into Q3 and Q4 and how they're starting to roll this out more and more aggressively, fulfillment's going to play a massive component into, really kind of winning this new type of buy box that's being rolled out on eBay. Third one is early results. And so we'll go into some of the early data points that we've seen. Pretty astounding in terms of, the level of, the sales lift that we're seeing. Definitely a lot of variation, but we'll go into a few specific examples. So if we go into number one, the early mover advantage. So if you guys can think back to Amazon in 2012, 2013, what happened then is that, Amazon really focused on Prime. And so they made this switch within their website from price and selection to Prime and convenience. And so on the right, you can see what that website looked like in 2011, where the focus was on, what other customers are looking at and price. And then you can see what the move they made in 2012, where Prime actually got a space in the logo even when you went to Amazon.com. So then also what they did in 2012 is that they unloaded this massive marketing spend. And if you think about it, a lot of people joined Prime actually in 2011, 2012, where they were giving out free 1-year subscriptions. And so what was the impact there on the seller side? So a lot of sellers who were in FBA already, all of a sudden their items started showing up on Prime. And so they started benefiting from all of Amazon's marketing spend. And so their items started showing up at the top of search. They started winning the buy box. And so they were able to generate so many sales on their listings, get so many reviews, so many happy buyers, to a point of where they could source products at cheaper than other sellers. And so you see a massive group of sellers, really kind of looking at the top 1,000 Amazon sellers, and they all grew in a very similar point in time. Really good example here is like eTails, one of the largest sellers on Amazon today. They started in late 2012 and went from $10 million in revenue first year to $40 million revenue second year, going up to $80 million in revenue the third year. Everything sold by eTails was Prime enabled. And so they really just rode the wave there. And there's countless other examples of sellers who had this advantage. See something very similar on eBay, where early sellers, the ability to have guaranteed delivery, eBay is going out and marketing this to sellers so you can benefit from their marketing spend and really kind of be the first to control eBay search. Second piece is on group similar listings advantage. So eBay is essentially rolling out a buy box. And so what that'll be is, you search for a Keurig coffee maker, and they're going to aggregate all 10 sellers selling the exact same item, and they're going to figure out who should show up first on that listing. And it really comes down to, with, in terms of any buy box, the main algorithm is on price and shipping. And so if you all match on price, then it's really going to come down to who has the fastest shipping. And so eBay will obviously default to guaranteed delivery, but who has the fastest guaranteed delivery option, and then who has a free guaranteed delivery option. And so that's going to be a big component as we look at eBay continue to consolidate their listings over the next I would say 2-3 quarters or so. Third reason is initial results of the program. And so we've definitely seen a lot of variation at a listing level. There's some listings where you activate them on EGD and you don't really see any move. And then there's other listings you activate them on EGD and then there's just this massive change in sales. And I do think it has to do with the type of item and the type of category. But thankfully, eBay actually posts their order data publicly. They obviously, cover a few items like customer details, but here I actually attached 2 screenshots, and this is a seller, I won't mention their name, but they're using Sellbrite and they're using Deliverr for their fulfillment, and we activated them on EGD. The first screen is what their sales were in May, and they sold on this specific SKU, they sold 15 items in May, and then June is what their sales, and then the second screen is what their sales were in June. And then in June, I actually couldn't even fit all the sales, but it came out to around 36 sales in June. And then going on to in July, looking at 45 sales, this on track for this month. Now, when we activated it on EGD, it was actually June 5th. So we didn't even have the entire month of June, but you see this massive uptick in sales coming in between, not having your item activate on EGD and activate on EGD. For this SKU, it had consistently done 15 sales per month until it became activated on EGD, and then it jumped up to 36, and now it's going up above 40. Another interesting piece there is that eBay shows you what each buyer bought it at. And in May, the price was around $35.98, and they actually increased the price when they added EGD. So they added EGD to their items, but they increased the price by $4, and they still saw this double in sales. So pretty extreme case, I would say. I wouldn't, don't want to set wrong expectations that like, okay, every seller can go and, increase the price of your items, but add EGD and you're going to see a double in sales. But you see these cases, and we've seen, a few different isolated cases where we're seeing a double in sales, a triple in sales for certain types of items, certain types of categories, which is really interesting when you're looking at optimizations here. So how do you get on EGD? There's a few ways to do it. Number one, and this is by far the most common option, is to do it yourself with the handling time option. And we'll go more in depth into that and what that means. Number two is through Deliverr. And so we are the only fulfillment provider pre-integrated into eBay guaranteed delivery. And we've automated the entire end-to-end process with Sellbrite. Third way, and we should definitely talk about this because it comes up almost all the time, especially if you hang around like eBay discussion forums and stuff. Everybody's asking, can I connect multi-channel FBA into EGD? And so if we just talk a little bit about that, FBA, doesn't really want to integrate into, other marketplaces fast shipping programs. So it's a bit of a manual process. That being said, it should be doable. So if you were to connect FBA to the door-to-door option, you would have to route every order to their expedited or their next day ordering services. You could not route EGD orders to FBA ground. The reason being that eBay requires a 97% on-time delivery percentage within 3 days. And if you use FBA multi-channel and you use the ground option, you'll sit around 85%. And so you'll get kicked off the program very quickly. And so that's why we strongly recommend, if you want to do EGD and it's a priority for you, you either go with one of the 2 options listed above. So going into do-it-yourself handling time option, this option, on the pros, it's very easy to set up. So what is the handling time option? It's essentially, let's say you're fulfilling this out of your own garage. What eBay has said is if you want to enable your items on guaranteed delivery, they will figure out what promised delivery date to show to buyers. You just need to, opt into the handling time option and ship it within in 1 day. So it's very easy to set up and get going. And it's a good way to test it out. The cons, though, are that you can have really, really limited coverage. And so think about this as seller fulfilled Prime versus using FBA with Prime. When you use FBA, you get 100% Prime coverage, meaning that every Amazon buyer is seeing the Prime tag. But when you do this, when you do seller fulfilled Prime, and let's say you just do seller fulfilled Prime out of your own warehouse, maybe 20, 25% of Amazon buyers are actually seeing the Prime tag. You're missing out on the other 70, 75%. And so it's very similar here. So most sellers on the eBay EGD handling time option are only going to show the EGD tag to around 30% of eBay buyers. The other 70% you're going to miss. And then it can be hard to manage. You have to manually set this up. You have to make sure that you're always shipping within one business day, which can be tough if you get on eBay daily deals and let's say you see 1,000 orders in a day, which definitely happens when you get on deals. That can be very difficult to make sure that you can stay on that program, similar to how Self-Fulfilled Prime is difficult to stay on. So then if we go to the second option, Deliverr, which is the door-to-door option. And so the door-to-door option is for power sellers who are selling a lot of items at a SKU level and want to enable this to every buyer. So with Deliverr, we'll send your items out to a lot of different locations across the country, and you'll get 99% plus coverage. We've also automated the entire rate table process. So we've built this Chrome plugin, and what it does is it logs into your eBay account, sets up rate tables, and then manages those rate tables for you so that you're always offering as much coverage as you can on EGD so that you're not missing out on potential buyers. Third piece is meeting delivery time. So we make sure that we always stay above that 97% on-time delivery percentage. And eBay obviously monitors us to make sure that we're always onto this program. And I'd say the last pro, which actually isn't listed here, but it's the ability to whitelist you onto the program. And because we have an existing relationship with eBay, and they know that we power the fulfillment, all their EGD fulfillment for a particular seller, they would be able to enable you onto the program if you didn't already meet their qualifications for EGD. And then if we go to the cons though, because we obviously want to set expectations with Deliverr in terms of how it's different from other services, this is for power sellers. And if this is something where you just don't have enough sales to justify sending to a few different locations across the country, then we definitely recommend that you keep this in-house and you do the handling time EGD option. But if this is something where you have an item and it's really starting to sell well and you want to get 100% nationwide coverage on guaranteed delivery, then Deliverr makes a lot of sense. And going with that door-to-door option is really kind of get you to the next level. So going to the next slide, Mike had some slides on, saying how Sellbrite makes it easier. And so Deliverr kind of makes it faster. And I would say step one, just going to run through it real quick what the flow looks like. And if you're an existing Deliverr seller, and there's a few here today, most of this should be overview. Some stuff we have enhanced on the fast tag page. But number one, connecting your Sellbrite account, super easy to do, should take like 30 seconds. Then going to step two, sending inventory. So here you select what items you want to send. We show you what the cost previews are. So similar with FBA, when you want to send an item to FBA, they're going to tell you what the fulfillment cost is. We do the same with Deliverr. And then we'll tell you where to send it. So we'll tell you, okay, send some here, some here, some here, some here. You won't have to send to more to 4 locations, but I would expect to send to around 4 locations. That's how you get that 100% coverage on eBay guaranteed delivery. Then we go to step 3, which is the fast tags piece. So Mike talked a lot about fast tags, how it really impacts sales on these marketplaces. And so Deliverr's vision is to enable a seller to get on every single fast tag on every single marketplace. Today we're live with 2, eBay guaranteed delivery and Walmart free 2-day shipping. And so you just go to the fast tags tab, click activate eBay EGD, and then we go ahead and do everything for you. Creating rate tables, you can see our Chrome plugin in the background, going and doing all of that. And then you're ready to go and you don't have to touch it. Then we go to the next piece. You watch orders come in. And so orders will come in. You'll see them in your Sellbrite account, and they'll come in and they'll be marked as eBay EGD orders. Then they will flow into Deliverr, given your warehouse priorities are correct. And then the orders will be 3-day options and be fulfilled with our 3-day rates. If you're to do Walmart 2-day, it would come in with our as a Walmart order with the 2-day rate. And that's really it. And so the system just works automated from there. And you're good to go. So I think that was everything on Deliverr. And then Mike, we'll hand it back over to you, and then we can run into some Q&A.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. Sure. That was a really deep look, but also it's so easy to get up and running with Deliverr that you don't need to look too hard, and there's not a whole lot to learn. Michael and his team have made it really easy to work with, an outsourced fulfillment partner, way easier than any other partner that I've ever seen. Usually it's considered to be quite a burden or a headache to try to find a partner that you can trust, to understand where they can fulfill, make sure that they can ship your types of products. And Michael and his team have not only built a product that's easy to use, but they're there to answer questions as well. So if you have questions about the types of products that you're selling, or if you want to know, what are some of the limits of the program, or rather, like if you only want to use, certain number of SKUs for certain channels, they can answer all that, and they're totally flexible with that stuff too. So just a quick review of our partnership. So Sellbrite integrates with Deliverr. They are our fulfillment provider of choice if you are selling on eBay or Walmart, and have very tight relationships with both of those channels. So if you are if you talk to your contacts at eBay or at Walmart, if you have them, and let them know that you're working with Deliverr, they're going to know that you're in really good hands. So it's a seamless integration. All orders drop from whichever warehouse you designate in Sellbrite to Deliverr. They can tell if it's a fast shipping order or not, and they do their fulfillment. And by the way, it doesn't have to be fast shipping either. And Michael, I know we could probably speak to that better, but anytime an order goes out, whether it's fast shipping or not, that tracking info comes back in and updates seamlessly. So it definitely takes a lot of the pain of scaling your inventory and warehouse management out of the equation. Like you said, it's fast shipping for Walmart and eBay, and for both tools, Sellbrite and Deliverr, we offer really good onboarding support. So you're going to be able to talk to real people. You're going to get every question answered, which is something we pride ourselves on. So without further ado, we've got some questions that have come in, and I want to make sure that we have plenty of time for all of those. Please, if you've got any other questions about either Deliverr or Sellbrite, don't hesitate to send them in, or anything at all about the fast shipping program. Let's see, let's kind of jump into some right now. Lisa asks, can you use Deliverr for just one market? Michael, I'm gonna let you take that one.
Yeah, so I would say sellers usually come in very interested in one marketplace, and so a lot of times we'll get a seller saying, hey, can you come in and power eBay EGD? And then a separate seller will come in, hey, I got blocked on Walmart because I was trying to use FBA, and can you help me out and get me unsuspended? Absolutely, I definitely think that's a common use case for us. What we see though very often is that for a seller, they'll come in for one channel and then they say, okay, I'm using eBay and EGD and I'm seeing a pretty good lift. I actually want to get on Walmart today, and that makes a lot of sense. And so they can do as many channels as they want to, as few channels as they want to. It's really kind of up to them. There's no minimum or anything like that. All you need is really a Sellbrite account to get started, and you're good to go.
Cool. Chris asks, is there a limit to the number? Oh no, actually, let me see if I can just retranslate this. Can I only fulfill one SKU with Deliverr? Yeah, like I'll answer that quickly. Yeah, we've got some sellers that have decided to work with Deliverr for just a couple of products, a handful of their top selling products, or ones that maybe they routinely do with deals or things like that on the channel.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can certainly just kind of cherry pick your certain SKUs that you want to fulfill.
And I think that's why we love working with listing tools. And I think Sellbrite is by far, in terms of my opinion, just the easiest to use and most straightforward. That's a huge piece, which is the ability to say, okay, for these top sellers, I want them with Deliverr, and then for the long tail, I don't want to, have those in Deliverr warehouses where they could, take on storage rates. I'll keep those in house. It's very similar with like FBA. You're going to put your top sellers with FBA that you want on Prime, and then for the long tail, you might keep yourself, and then maybe you do seller fulfilled Prime for a little bit of coverage. So that dynamic is all powered through the listing tool with the ability to assign different fulfillment nodes at a SKU level.
Michael, can you talk about if someone wants to take advantage of the program, what are the steps for them to get started?
Yeah, I mean for EGD, it's pretty easy. It's a little more complex for Walmart 2 Day, but you know what you would do is you would create a Sellbrite account, then create a Deliverr account, and you know you would go ahead and send inventory, and then when you send inventory, as we mentioned, you would go into the fast tag section,
No,
and
I meant specifically, like, do they need to talk to you guys to get started, or to
oh yeah.
if they
So
need to provide any
initially,
more info?
yeah. So for the next I would say 30 days, you'll have to submit an inbound request to talk to our operations team before you get started. And it's just like a 15, 20-minute call. We'll just make sure your products are safe to store with Deliverr, everything like that. And it's pretty, you know, it should be pretty fast. Then we'll give you a passcode to create an account. Then you can go ahead, create a Deliverr account, and then go ahead, send inventory, and then get on EGD. It's pretty easy. Usually the turnaround time, you know, in terms of, you know, starting to complete your first inbound can be just, you know, a few days. And, you know, we had that other seller that we showed, you know, they got up and running with Sellbrite and Deliverr, and they were new to both in around a week. And they got their items on EGD, I would say 3 or 4 days later. So pretty fast turnaround time if you want to get started.
Wow, that's cool. Lisa asks, is the EPID the same as the UPC? I don't believe it is. I believe eBay has its own kind of table for EPIDs, but I'm not 100% sure. Michael, do you know off the top of your head?
I think it is different.
Is it? It's different. Okay.
Yeah, that looks like an eBay product ID, and so what that looks very similar to is like an FN SKU or an ASIN. So that looks like, you know, Amazon's version of an ASIN or eBay's version of an ASIN, which if you look at an ASIN, it's very different from EPC.
Okay. Ken asks if we can email the presentation to him after this. Of course, the whole thing will be available on replay whenever you're ready. So we'll make sure to send that out by email as well. Josh asks, does Deliverr have minimums?
Yeah, no, I think it's really in terms of, you know, what is easiest for a seller. So, you know, with Deliverr, it's similar to FBA where you have to pay storage rates. And then if you have items, you know, that in the warehouse over 6 months, over a year, then the storage increases. But before that, you're okay. And so it's, you know, what makes the most sense for your business. And if, you know, items that move faster are going to do, you know, it's going to make more sense for your to have them with Deliverr versus items that move very slow. It might not make as much sense. But yeah, there's no actual like minimum that we hold you to because, you know, a lot of sellers, they could be starting on eBay for the first time. They could be established on Amazon, but this is their first venture outside of Amazon. And we want to make sure we make it as easy for them to do that. And so, yeah, that's why, you know, at least from my perspective, we don't want to have Deliverr, you know, force sellers to have any minimums.
Awesome. And we just got confirmation from Shannon that they are different, that the EPID is eBay specific, whereas the UPC is universal. I wasn't sure if it was a case of kind of like a G10 where it's 2 extra zeros added onto it, or if it's actually a completely different number. But that's good to know. Okay, well, I mean, I think it was all so clear that, you know, there's not a ton of questions. Again, if you want to get started or you want more information about the program, you can email us here at Sellbrite, which is support@sellbrite.com on your screen. And then we're happy to make an introduction to the Deliverr team who, like Michael said, can turn this around for you and get you up and running in a very short amount of time. But we hope that you'll consider guaranteed delivery as a part of your upcoming strategy. If you're looking to improve your sales on eBay, which I know all of you are, because it's just such a fantastic way to differentiate from the competition, and it's still so kind of not new, but unexploited. There's just a massive opportunity out there. So any more questions at all, don't hesitate to email us. Again,
if you have questions on Deliverr, you can email Deliverr, or you can go to deliverr.com and just say request access, and then that'll route to our operations team, and then we can talk to you. Or if you have specific questions that you want to email me on, it's just michael@deliverr.com, and it's Deliverr with 2 R's. And happy to help.
Yeah, I forgot to put that on here. Deliverr with 2 R's.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks, Michael. Really appreciate having you on, and thank all of you for
Mike.
attending. And we hope to see you next time.
All right, see you guys.